Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by MailChimp. Manage lists with up to 2,000 subscribers and send 12,000 emails per month for free with MailChimp. And by Sourcebits. Visit www.sourcebits.com to begin your mobile app development journey.
Hey everybody, it's Friday, so it's our news roundtable with us, Sean Percival, entrepreneur in residence. Wow, look at you, big title. At Science, of course, the incubator here down in Los Angeles. Writer and entrepreneur James Altucher is here. He's always controversial, insightful, and a little bit insane. Lon Harris is back from Ranker.com. He's going to read the news. Tyler is going to have an insight. All that and more on This Week in Startups, the news roundtable. Stick with us.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil, but funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Introducing the newest members of the This Week in Startups producer program.
Hello everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. I'm Jason Calacanis. This is the show you watch if you want to learn how to start companies, if you want to learn how to raise money for your company, if you want to learn how to get customers, if you want to learn how to be successful in life, if you want to learn how to be a samurai as opposed to a rice picker. Nothing wrong with being a rice picker in life. You could pick rice and feed the samurai. Somebody's got to do it, but boy, what a boring, terrible, horrible life you'll have in the rice fields day after day, picking the rice. Why not try to be a killer, a murderer, a samurai for once in your life? For God's sake, get the hell out of your chair and build something of value in the world. With me today, Sean Percival is on the program. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, you're an entrepreneur in residence now at Science, which is...
We really try and say it's more of a tech studio because there's so many incubators and accelerators. It's a little bit different too, where an incubator or an accelerator, they give you maybe 20 grand and kind of like good luck and push you on the way. This is much more hands-on, a lot more capital as well.
Right. Yeah. And Mike Jones and Peter Pham are the co-founders of it. $10 million in capital, you guys. And now it seems like, is Ryan Budke over there too now?
He is,
So you and Ryan Budke are the entrepreneurs in residence.
Yep. A few others too.
Known or unknown?
Tony Adam, I don't know if you know him. I don't know, SEO guy, I worked with him at Myspace. Cool. He's there as well. So
they're basically going to guys like you who worked at Myspace or Mahalo or DocStock and saying, hey, you could start your own company, but we'll make it easier for you. We'll, according to Peter, pay your salaries, set you up with an office, give you all the resources. So for you, you don't have to take a huge risk as an entrepreneur.
It's great. Yeah, they take care of a lot of the legal stuff, the office, the overhead. I mean, things that first-time entrepreneurs, which technically I am really. I need help on that. And
work with a lot of entrepreneurial guys, but it is your first time. Well, congratulations on that. Hey, James Altucher, you're here.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Fantastic, and I got you a Christmas present. Obviously, it didn't arrive. It's an HD camera.
Yes, I've got a little smudge here.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's kind of old school. It makes it look like Skype. If Skype existed in the 70s, this is what it would look like.
Exactly.
How are you doing? You're getting tons and tons of publicity, and I see you on Yahoo News and Finance. I see you on Business Insider. Your columns are getting picked up everywhere.
Yeah, I think they've been spreading around. I think what people have kind of seen is that being honest about what it's like to really be an entrepreneur or an investor or a VC or whatever is a lot different than the usual picture that people have of that.
Yeah.
Which is much more glamorous is what the usual picture is.
I just saw a study, actually. I don't know if it's in the news this week, but there was a study they did 83 public CEOs of public companies, and they were like, are you depressed? And it was like, 98% of CEOs are depressed. Do you feel overwhelmed? 87%. Do you feel alone and isolated and nobody understands you? 83%. It was just like every possible malady, psychological terror was exhibited.
Well, it's sort of related to your intro, Jason. Like they strive to be the samurai, and when they get there, it turns out what they really wanted to be was someone making a garden instead.
Yeah.
And there's kind of this misperception of what they wanted.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's not easy. But boy, when it works out, it works out. Also with us, Lon Harris is back to read the news. Good to see you, Lon.
You as
well.
What
has it been, a month? God, how's it
been
Christmas?
since before the holidays, yeah.
People are complaining when you're not doing the news.
They don't like it. They don't. I hear from them too.
Where is Lon?
People always think that like you and I. Even if I miss 1 week, I get emails like, "Did you and Jason have some huge falling out? What happened? Tell us about the blow up."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not. It's never as dramatic as people are hoping.
Well, sometimes it is.
Yeah,
but
occasionally.
it is, but not these 2 or 3 times. How are you doing, Tyler?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, before we start, let me take a pause for the cause and thank Sourcebits. Sourcebits is actually found out it's a Sequoia-backed company. Not that that's any kind of a big deal. Google, Atari, Apple, YouTube, Mahalo. I mean, it's a pretty good list of people who are Sequoia-backed. But they are a mobile app development and software design company. I met with them when I was in San Francisco. Great guys. I'm actually thinking of using them for some projects because we're so busy with Mahalo's expanding app ecosystem. It's going so well. And these guys count Hershey's, GE, and Coca-Cola among their clients. Really hardworking guys. And they really take a design-centric approach and a functionality approach. We've actually been using a couple of their apps. Am I supposed to show one? Maybe the Nightstand app. This is became, when they first came out, pull up my iPad here, and you have to drop the lower third so they can see it. But this Nightstand app, I downloaded like a year ago. It's one of the best-selling apps, and you can tell when somebody's good at something when the design is just as awesome as it is, and the little subtlety like being able to see what the weather is, etc. And you can change this around and pick all kinds of different clocks. And Tyler was pointing out, it's really cool when you see people put this level of detail into their work. You doing any mobile apps at the labs over there? Is that like a big focus?
Not really.
You guys are the commerce people.
We're really more commerce focused. Yeah.
Right. And so that means if you want to do with these commerce things some sort of an app, you're not going to hire a bunch of app people. You're probably better off hiring Sourcebits.
Sure.
There you go. I got your client, Sourcebits. Check them out.
Done.
And so go check out sourcebits.com, and I thank them for supporting independent media like This Week in Startup, which wouldn't exist if it wasn't for folks like Sourcebits. Really, thanks a lot, guys. Lon, what's in the news?
Wow, so much this week because we got the big CES. You want to do CES up front? So much CES news. Google. We got the big Google news.
Let's go Google first.
Yeah, all right, two big Google stories.
Yes.
One is breaking today, so I feel like we should jump into that one.
Let's do it.
Which is this, I don't know if you guys heard about this Kenyan situation. I'm just going to the page right now.
Yeah. This is they scraped a site in Kenya.
Yeah, it's in Kenya. There's this company called Mocality Kenya. It's a directory. It's got 170,000 verified business listings. And then so in September of 2011, Google decided to launch this initiative, getting Kenyan businesses online. Their goal is we want to set up small and medium-sized businesses in Kenya with websites, make it real easy to come in, set up an online web presence for companies that don't have any.
Local's a big focus of Google.
However, what they did is it looks like they actually just scraped the entire directory, or a lot of the directory, from this company, Mocality Kenya, and then even sort of scummier, at least the CEO of Mocality is claiming they then contacted the businesses in that directory and said, we're working with Mocality, we'll help you build this website. And Mocality only figured it out because they started getting phone calls from business owners asking them customer service questions about, hey, you guys are helping me build this website.
Did Google respond yet?
Yeah, Google's official statement, quote, we're aware that a company in Kenya has accused us of using some of their publicly available customer data without permission. We are investigating the matter and we'll have more information as soon as possible.
Sounds to me like a rogue employee would do that, because Google is very, very conscious. I mean, I'm not like a Google forgiver or anything like that, but Google is very conscious of no follow tags, no index tags, and not stealing people's content because they know they're a target, and if they do it wrong. So like with Yelp, there was like very nuanced negotiations about how much they would scrape, how much would they abstract. I mean, and Yelp wasn't happy about it, but Google was very engaged in a discussion with them. I know for a fact because I talked to Jeremy and I talked to people at Google about it, and we had Lior on our program.
There is an update to this story I'm seeing. Google has confirmed as true allegations made on Friday by a Kenyan provider that Google staffers attempted to undermine its business by lying to its customers and improperly mining its data. Quote, we were mortified to learn that a team of people working on a Google project improperly used Mocality's data and misrepresented our relationship with Mocality to encourage customers to create new websites. And that was Nelson Matos, Google's vice president for product engineering in Europe and emerging markets. So they've unreservedly apologized to Mocality, and they're investigating how it happened.
Right.
So they're saying this was in-house people, this was full-time employees.
They're calling them staffers, so that sounds to me staffers would be full-time.
It's not agencies they hired or anything.
Listen, for Google, they're so under fire right now because of the Google Plus stuff
Yes, which
and
we'll
for the Zagat stuff,
jump into.
and the list of things that Google is under investigation for is getting longer, and the number of enemies is getting bigger. They've got a real massive PR problem on their hands right now. James, what's your take on Google right now?
Well, I think they're basically streamlining so that they're focusing on mobile, search, Chrome, and Google+. So they're basically getting rid of everything else. This Mocality issue will blow over any day. Like, who even cares about Kenya? So that issue disappears tomorrow. But this Google+ integrated with search is a much more important issue, I think. Are they kind of defaulting into an inferior search product by using Google search results?
Yeah, what do you think, James? If you are, are they making a mistake in integrating Google Plus so deeply into search, and are they breaking search in order to try to compete and build up a Facebook competitor? Which is it?
I think they're not breaking search in the sense that you can opt out, but for even a sophisticated user like me, it wasn't immediately clear how I could opt out of seeing all my friends' results first when I search. So
did it make it worse or better for you?
Well, it turned out worse. I can guarantee you if I'm searching for, let's say, a cooking recipe, I don't want to see what any of my friends have to say about that recipe. I'd rather go straight to the experts rather than see my friends' photos of what their chicken cacciatore look like. So leave the Google Plus out of it for me with search.
What do you think, Sean?
I can opt out.
Is it a net positive? Is it negative? Have you played with it a lot?
I mean, I have. I think it's a negative. I think that normal people don't want this. I think Google built a huge business because they had a sparse homepage. They were the least in-your-face company, and it was a great thing.
It was so clean.
It was so beautiful, and
efficient.
It's totally different now. And my parents, like to his point, my parents don't want that crap. They don't want to see people's faces. They don't want to create profiles. They just want to find the information.
It'd be like opening up the phone book and it's got pictures of all your friends next to like their comments about businesses. Is that a plus or a minus? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, maybe in some cases it works. Go ahead.
This is also the first time people really have to start really thinking about privacy. Like with Google Circles, I just sort of throw everyone in the same circle as my default option. Now I have to really start thinking about private versus public. I've never had to really deal with this before.
Yeah, I think that they're a little too late to the game with this. We're almost experiencing like a social reversion. Like we're almost going back to being more private after years of being more public.
Right.
And here they are trying to make us more public again. They needed to do this 2 years ago.
They're also making this sort of, they're converging the social graph and like the interest graph. Like they're assuming just because you're connected to people on Google+, you share interests or they're experts in things you want to know about, which isn't really true at all. There's other sites that make better use of like combining people who have similar interests but may not know each other.
Let's go around the horn. Should this have been opt-in as opposed to opt-out?
Oh, absolutely opt-in.
Opt-in for sure.
James?
I think it shouldn't be opt-in or opt-out. I think it should have been sort of over to the side. Here's your Google Plus search results. Because I don't mind the voyeuristic aspect of it. I kind of like that. But still, I don't really care about my friends.
So there should be a second tab that just says social. And if I want to search social, I go there. Now, okay, so, and Tyler, what are your thoughts? Opt-in or opt-out? And what do you think of it?
I think it's genius. I think it's inevitable. I think anyone who complains about it's an idiot.
Wow, here we go. But you got to back that up.
They have every right to do it.
Well, okay, obviously they can do whatever they want.
If you don't like it, go use another search engine.
Absolutely, but...
Matter of fact, I spoke to Lior Ron about it yesterday.
Did you really?
I did.
Look at you, name dropper.
Yes. Well, you just mentioned him that he was on the show, yeah.
And what did he say?
He's like, yeah, I'm not going to... He can say what he wants to say.
Well, give us a little... What's the general feeling on it?
I explained how I think it's ridiculous that anyone even accused them of anything or...
Well, it's a big move, so let's just talk.
Sure.
Taking aside the industry baseball, is it better or okay? Go ahead.
What he did say was, this isn't the first time they've implemented some personalization-like features into the main search.
Right. Did he say that before or after saying "F you, suck it, Facebook"?
Facebook wasn't the issue. It was more about Twitter because Twitter's so hot about accusing.
Yeah, Twitter's whatever. Pretty accusatory there.
Yeah.
So, you think it helps the search experience?
Last night, not only is it in the main search, it's also in Google Images search. I did a Google image search for something yesterday.
Yes.
I came across a friend of mine's photo for that search term that I didn't even know they had done that.
So you were searching for some porn term.
Yes.
And a friend had put some, but no,
Sure.
What were you searching for? What was it?
I was searching relating...
Thailand or something?
No. This restaurant here called Tender Greens.
Yeah, great restaurant.
Awesome restaurant.
Yeah. It's in Santa Monica too.
Yeah. And then Jen had taken a photo at Tender Greens, and I didn't know she had ever been to Tender Greens.
So it did spark a little conversation. I think
it's part of her Google Plus albums.
When it works, it will be brilliant. It's not going to work, except that experience is going to come 1 out of 10 times. So I guess the issue is,
let's say she took a horrible picture of that restaurant. Like, then it wouldn't have worked. Then it would have failed for you.
No, even if it was horrible. Tyler has a point. It is cool. You know, like, let's say it was Mission Impossible. And I saw Jason Rapstar Mission Impossible in an inferior IMAX theater than the good one. And this is on Twitter. And I had seen that Jason Crute had seen the Mission Impossible at the proper IMAX theater in Marina Del Rey. And I started 2 conversations with each of those people about Mission Impossible and the IMAX experience. But that was based on seeing it in Twitter on the side of Gmail in my reportive. So social signals, when you're searching for something, can be very interesting. I don't think anybody doubts that. But it doesn't seem like it's executed particularly well.
You also picked, you picked food and movies, which are the two big verticals where, your friends' input is going to matter. I mean, we have a lot of where did my friends eat dinner and what movies should I see this weekend? But I mean, all these long tail. I mean, Google's not primarily like I'm going to look up a movie or a restaurant. It's everything. It's the world.
So is
of
Google
data.
doing this in a spastic way because they're so tilted about Facebook and social, and they're not thinking clearly about what people want in search? What do you think?
Possibly. I mean, I look at a lot of the moves too. It's almost to fragment the SEO business even further, which this is doing, and to ensure that it's less about
to ensure that when you say fragment the search business, you mean make sure that no sites out there, any individual site becomes too big.
And no one has an unfair advantage, and then it's based on smaller pockets of people as opposed to a global view.
Right.
And if you notice, they default to your graph. They don't default to the world, even though the world's probably...
So this is yet another way of taking out the ability to impact search results.
Exactly, on a global scale.
Right.
So it's very difficult to impact it for you and for you and for you because all your results are all different now.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, what about this issue? Go ahead, James.
Oh, the other thing is this could be a genius move for them. Like, everybody now has to rush to sign up for Google Plus so that their search, now the new SEO thing is to sign up for Google Plus. So let's say they gain 10 million Google Plus users, but they lose a tiny percentage of market share on search. I think it's win-win, and then they switch back. So it could be just a marketing tool to get people to sign up for Google Plus really quickly.
Well, one thing is clear is Google, under Larry Page, is willing to piss people off, do big, bold things, and let the chips fall where they may. They're not. He's not going to sit around and wait to see if Facebook, defeats Google. He's going to go down fighting and swinging, and he's going to try everything. I mean, he's
got it because he's
pure samurai.
He has to because he's competing against people like Microsoft and Facebook, who that's how they play.
It's getting rougher out there. What does this mean for Twitter? Does Twitter now have to license their data to Google?
They did at one point.
Right, and then they couldn't come to terms.
It didn't really work out too well.
Well, why didn't it work out too well? I think they got $25 million over 2 years for it. I think it was a large portion of the Twitter profits.
But the search results, though, didn't look so good. I mean, just seeing someone's tweets, that was completely useless in my search results. But this Google Plus does look better in the search results than just seeing, so-and-so's tweeted about a restaurant when I search on that restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, it's another example of only working in certain cases. When it was very topical or breaking news, it worked good. I mean, it was like...
What would be an example of that?
I don't know. A celebrity gets a divorce.
Yeah,
and you type in the celebrity name, and then it's TMZ. Kim Kardashian gets her 5th divorce. And
Twitter's going to do breaking news, better than almost anybody. So yeah, if it's a really timely topic, you're going to get better results.
So does Twitter acquiesce and give Google the feed? Does Google up their price? Does Twitter say... do Twitter and Facebook... Question for both of them: do they both hold the line and say you can't index our content? What do you think?
Yelp's in the same
The problem is they can both say that, but then then Google should just go to Bitly or Owly, which statistically is going to have the same data as Twitter or Facebook, but be 1/10 the price.
So now
but that's why Twitter got off of
Bitly. That's why Twitter started masking every single URL with a T-code.
Yeah, but also remember, so Twitter has no followed every tweet. But they're all in the index. 6 billion are in the index.
Wait, say it again?
So Twitter if you go to a single tweet, it's a no index.
Right.
Meaning don't put it in the index.
Right.
But Google has 6 billion tweets in their index. So they're ignoring their own rule. This is another thing. Danny was really hitting on this and a few other folks were too.
So Twitter got 6 million tweets in there.
6 billion tweets, I think. If you do site:/Twitter, we can take a look.
So how are they in there?
They're just there, even though they shouldn't be. And so that's this.
Is that a Google mistake or is that a Twitter? Oh, so Google's indexing them even though they're non-indexable.
And they shouldn't be. And Google came out and said, we'd love to be partners with you. Take off your no index. Let's be friends.
Right.
But
so Google will, and people have said this before. Danny said it many times. Google will index your stuff even if you tell them not to.
In some cases, yeah. If there's enough links going to it, if there's enough authority on that URL, they're going to go after it no matter what.
It's showing me 3.25 billion results for site Twitter.com.
I wonder if those are the user accounts. Maybe they allow.
They seem to mostly be the user.
Yeah, see, I think they allow user accounts in this. So if you search for Jason Calacanis Twitter, you're going to come up, but maybe they don't. Individual tweets don't.
We can find that out too.
There's definitely some individual tweets.
That's just
in
at Jason.
well.
Yeah.
You know, my Twitter handle is just at Jason.
I do. I should.
Let me tell you something. Being able to get that handle has been so invaluable to me. Now when I meet people, they're like, oh, what's your Twitter? I'm like, yeah, it's just at Jason. And they're like, at Jason what? And I'm like, no, just
it's the ultimate vanity plate. Yep.
Just that.
Yeah, so far it seems like it's all profiles, not individual tweets.
So I saw some examples. Maybe it's changed or they did a quick correction on it. But I did see some examples where tweets were in there. We can.
Oh yeah, there's one.
Yeah. So there.
Well, I think that
it looks like old tweets from when they had the deal. It doesn't look like new tweets.
Huh.
That's possible too.
Interesting. Maybe they're not going backwards and taking that stuff out. I think Twitter and Facebook at this point both need to launch their own search engines, social search engines.
Yeah, and they dip their toe in it, but they never go forward. Facebook was really moving to it and haven't heard anything in months.
I think they're waiting post-IPO to launch it. I think that they've got it in a, they've got a building.
For antitrust reasons or?
No, for pop the stock up another 10% reasons. Like
Google's
you want to keep a little ammunition, right? So they don't do revenue sharing, right? Facebook yet. They don't allow you to put their ads on your site yet, although people have said there's some examples of that out there. They just haven't found them yet. And they don't have their search engine out yet. I believe they have all three of those products done.
And I bet Google knows what Facebook has.
Sure.
And that's why Google's like, oh, that's coming? Fine, all gloves are off, because Google, in a way, Google kind of hopes Facebook has a search engine because they don't like all this antitrust issue.
Yeah.
The second Facebook launches, it's over. And
how many points of search share does Facebook get the month they have the first month of their search engine? If Google, or let's say 6 months out, because right now, if you look at it, 800 million Facebook versus, whatever it is, 40, 50 million Google Plus, they got to 5%. Does Facebook have 5%, 10%, 15% of search when they launch a search engine?
It could be way more than that if they can change your habit to doing your searches from inside of Facebook.
Well, people do all the time. So it says like search Facebook, search the web.
Sure.
Yeah. So what percentage?
They could very quickly get to 30% of all the searches that happen.
You believe that?
I don't know. You could see what percentage does Twitter have if you count Twitter search?
I mean, probably under 1%.
Yeah, 1%.
Yeah,
maybe.
so that's social search. That's what Facebook would have.
I don't know if you can change behaviors.
No, we're talking about Facebook doing a real search engine, like search for, Athens and get the Wikipedia page first and get,
but people don't do that. See, on MySpace, all the top terms were Tom, Jim, Sally, people searching their friends, and that's what you do on Facebook. I don't really type in.
But what if they put a big search box, search the web on the top right?
Yeah, possible. They'd really need to do a lot to change user behavior, because everyone goes there, you type in the girl that you're interested in, or you type in an event name, you're not looking for, you don't go there to type in an external URL.
If they were going to do that, and it's safe to assume Google would know that they're doing that, what would Google do in return? They would instantly link their Google Plus with their search results.
All right. This is a fascinating discussion, and it's not going to get solved right now, but it's definitely beyond belief that Google launched its product, I think.
Well, but what do you think? I know
crazy
what Tyler's
to
answer
launch
this
it like
would be.
this.
But what do the rest of you think? I mean, is this a government matter? Because they're talking about lawsuits and
the government's not. Listen, the government. By the time the government figures this out, it'll already be. Oh, it'll be like 8 years from now.
But how can you be excited about the potential of Facebook doing something like this, and then look at Google and be like, "Oh, there's something wrong about that"? Like,
because Google is the entrenched. The reason why is because Google is the entrenched candidate, the entrenched person.
Yeah.
And they're launching something so aggressively into a product. It's such an aggressive integration is the answer in a product that has dominant market share. Facebook has dominant market share.
Facebook has a dominant market share.
What's that?
Facebook is a social network. That's always
right.
been
So
their
if when
primary business.
Facebook
Google's
launches
search,
search, it will be an exact same response.
You have the ice cream manufacturer and the cone manufacturer, and the ice cream guy starts making cones, and you don't like that, but you're okay with the cone guy making ice cream?
Cone guy hasn't made the ice cream yet.
It's more like there's an ice cream manufacturer and a meatloaf manufacturer, and the ice cream guy starts making cones, and so does the meatloaf guy. Like,
I'm not eating meatloaf, but I think James Altucher summed it up nicely, which is he doesn't want to eat meatloaf ice cream, correct?
Well, basically that's right. Like suddenly now I have to think about privacy. I already dealt with that for the past Facebook, thinking about privacy. And Facebook, as bad as they've been with it, they've more or less been working on that issue. Google hasn't at all. So it's complicated. Now I have to think again. I don't like to think when I use Google.
Hey, one thing you're not going to have to think about is using MailChimp. MailChimp. Good segue?
Well done.
That's pretty good?
I like that one.
All right, very good. I'm back on my game. And MailChimp never left their game. I have sent 3 or 4 email newsletters in the last 2 weeks. It's just so rewarding when you send an email to people because you know they're going to get it when you use MailChimp. And it builds this very deep relationship. They respond. You have your email for life. Yeah, you may have Facebook now, you may go to Google+, you may use your Twitter, you may have been on Myspace, rest in peace, whatever, Rise, Friendster. Social networks, people change them like they change their favorite restaurants. Emails, they have for life. You got to build that email relationship with people. I got over 20,000 people on my email list, and whenever I have something to do, whether I'm going to London to go do a speaking gig, or I get the launch conference on March 7th or 8th, whatever it is, I got something I want to get off my chest, boom, I shoot that email out. I get hundreds of people who respond. Then I go to a cocktail party later and people bring it up. Email is that silver magic bullet that will get you or your business directly into the email box of your customers. MailChimp is the gold standard. You should not even think about using anything else. It's super affordable, and the free plan will always be free. And they upped it actually last year to 2,000 subscribers and 12,000 emails per month. That's probably 90% of the email list marketplace. So they're basically saying, we're going to give 90% of the people out there, 2,000 subscribers and under, free service. Because they know if you start using it and you're successful, which you will be, because all email, if you put out quality stuff, will get successful, you're going to cross over and then you're going to become a customer. I've used their product for years, and I love it. You use MailChimp?
I use it too.
See?
Love it. Use it for personal stuff, using it for my new projects. It's by far
the new projects.
Latest and greatest, yes.
Ah, very nice. I heard that you're working on an e-commerce.
It's all e-commerce, and it's subscription commerce, which is kind of the hot thing right now.
Yes, like the Shoe Dazzler kind of stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm going to subscribe to baby products, and then the baby products every month, because now you have a baby and a baby on the way, congratulations. You know that every month your needs change, and so I subscribe, and I'm guessing on month 6 I get something different than I got on month 3, and I get something different on month 9.
Possibly. It's all about taking...
If not, that's a killer idea.
It's all about saving you time, saving you money, and saving you from the horrible retail experience, be that an electronics store or a clothing store or
whatever it is.
General supplies. It's not a great experience, and I'm hoping to change
It's terrible. Retail is terrible. Yep. Hey, but one thing is not terrible is MailChimp.
Now it's too far.
Now I've got too far?
Now it's too far.
Double segue.
Well, you can't go too far in using MailChimp because...
The rare triple segue.
The real triple segue. Hey, let's get back to it. CES.
We'll talk CES.
CES. I mean, what an impactful event. Very impactful in the way that Sourcebits and MailChimp are for their customers.
Sure.
But let's hear about CES.
So we'll break it down. We'll talk about a bunch of different stuff. Ultrabooks, one of the big stories coming out of there this year. Much of the talk of the conference centered around super lightweight laptops, presenting an alternative maybe to the tablet craze. HP showed off the Envy Spectre 14, which is coated in Gorilla Glass, an ultra-thin, chemically strengthened material, and that's NFC enabled. And Lenovo was showing off their IdeaPad Yoga, which has a full range of motion at the hinge. You can actually fold it, and it turns into a 13-inch tablet.
I'm liking that.
So what did you guys think about the Ultrabooks? Is Ultrabooks the new thing? Is it overhyped?
Well, this kid loves his MacBook Air I bought him. Right? I mean, you know that you love that more than you love anything.
This is my everyday machine,
This is the best computing device ever built.
And it's almost like I feel like a schmuck now that I have an iMac at home and I got an iMac at the office, and I'm seeing people doing video editing on these things. Like, are these things, have they become so powerful that you don't even need to have a desktop computer anymore?
Here's the interesting thing about MacBook Airs that I don't think anybody knows. They're actually consistently sort of doing upgrades to the hardware without releasing it as new models.
Right.
The hard drive just yesterday is now twice as fast. The new ones are now twice as fast as the old ones.
Right.
The read-write speeds. The graphics processor is twice as good as this machine.
Yep.
But they're not
Yeah, they're not crowing about it. It's just,
no, not at all.
And the instant, it's like the SSD drive, the lightweight profile. Yeah. I mean, I carry mine with me every day, and I'm just thinking, I'm going to get the one with the Thunderbolt now, so that when you plug the Thunderbolt in, it's one plug for everything, right?
Right. Yep. It's light enough that you don't think about it. That's the key. There's some magic weight that
it's like under 4 pounds, you forget you have it with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
In your man bag.
I actually drove to the office 2 days ago, opened my bag, and it wasn't in there. And so I had to drive all the way home because it was so light I just forgot about it.
You forget that it's even in there.
And everyone's done that in our office at least once or twice.
Now, you don't use an iMac at home or at the office. You use just one computer now.
I'm kind of old school. I have a desktop, a PC desktop of all things. Monster Machine, Dell XPS, all the bells and whistles.
That's for to play video games or just to stay
video games.
Just to stay up on the Windows ecosystem?
Yeah, just to kind of have everything. But what's funny, as soon as I got that, I took all the hard drives out, replaced them with SSD, runs even faster. I just like Windows. I don't know, I'm a child of DOS, as they say, and I've never been able to let go of it.
Yeah, I let go of mine.
But I use this at the office. I take this, I plug it into a cinema display, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Ultrabook craze? What do you use, James?
I use the MacBook Air actually and an iPad because I think a lot of these companies are afraid to cannibalize their tablet business. So they're making their tablets more sophisticated and they're making their Ultrabooks smaller. And at some point they're going to intersect and one of those businesses are going to disappear. But you take like the Idea Lab one or the Idea Book one, that doesn't have 3G. So it can't compete with a real Android tablet or an iPad and so on. And once they add 3G, the tablet business goes away. So, and the Spectre actually weighs more than the MacBook Air, so it's not really competitive with it. So
yeah, I see them as two different devices.
Apple's still winning across the board, and they didn't even show up at CES.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what is the point of the Ultrabooks if this is the best you can get and it's the same price roughly? Like, why even have all these other ones? For the Windows people? I don't understand. Yeah.
I think it's for the Windows diehards, for the enterprises that have MacBook Air envy, but I don't think any enterprises now really care anymore.
They don't have that aversion they used to.
Yeah, they're just like, if you want a Mac, sure, get a Mac.
Yeah, we'll deal with it.
We'll deal with it. It's get Parallels or something.
Yeah.
I mean, and Windows 8 and the Windows 8 tablets, I mean, is it going to compete?
I mean, we actually also in televisions, that was also the story that they felt like, are all these other companies holding back until they see what Apple does with the new Apple TV, and then they'll announce where they're really going.
But on a market share basis, Android phones are just eclipsing, the iOS devices, the iPhone, massively. So it would make sense that the tablets, when they come out and they're good, which will be this year, will eclipse the iPad.
I think it's possible. I mean, I think
Kindle Fire already is
with phones. What you get is, I mean, my mom has an Android phone, and it's not like she made a weighty decision of iOS versus Android.
She made a 99
signed
versus
up for Verizon, and that was the phone that they offered her. So she just went with. So I think if you got into that situation where everybody goes to get a tablet and they just want, what's the tablet I can get cheap on my data plan?
Right.
Yeah, you probably will see Android tablets.
I think the lock on the tablet market is going to start to get shaken in 2012.
Which is why Apple's doing the education announcement in New York in a week or two.
Yes.
Where they're going to announce that there's going to be buyback programs as you upgrade your new iPad 3, that they're going to give your iPad 2s to the schools.
Is that breaking news?
For next to nothing.
Is that breaking news?
That is not. They have not. No one. It is all speculation at this point about what Apple is going to announce. It's definitely something with e-textbooks. That's been pretty much confirmed by insiders. But beyond that, if that happens, that was breaking news.
Well, didn't I write an article that instead of giving a dividend, they should just give the iPad away at $100 below cost to students to ensure massive market share and app market share?
They have been giving entire classes in schools, and they're flying schools from the Midwest to Apple headquarters, giving everybody in that whole class
an iPads,
and working with, trying to get the publishers to do the stuff. But if they can lock these kids down, and this was Apple's playbook back in the freaking 80s. Let's get education, because once we got them, then they're going to grow up with it, and they never, because they know when somebody gets into the Apple ecosystem, they don't get out.
Yeah, well, how about kids now with the apps? I mean, Charlotte's using apps now?
Yeah, she is, and it's how she learned to walk, actually. I would take the iPad, I put it on the other side of the room, and she would walk to it.
Right, exactly.
And she was that drawn to it.
She's like, want to come to Daddy? She's like, no, iPad.
I want the iPad. But honestly,
what do you do? You limit to a certain number of minutes a day with the iPad and the kid?
We try to, yeah. And
she's hard, right?
She's more into the iPhone. So she's into those little games where you touch the animals and that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I bet Apple found out.
But just like TV, we limit, a very small amount.
Do you feel guilty as a parent when she gets over like 20 minutes on it? You're like, oh my God, and you get OCD, like my daughter's on an iPad, because you're on it for an hour a day. Why shouldn't she be?
I am, and my dad put technology in front of me from like a very early age, and I
worked
turned
out pretty
okay.
well. Yeah.
So if she becomes overly technical, I'm fine. The concern of if she has ADD, I have ADD, and I did okay as well too. So
yeah,
I think we can work
ADD
through
is
that.
a superpower.
Yeah, to me, great. I can do 5 things at once. Wonderful.
Yeah, if you could, it's like, hey, you want to give your kid Asperger's. This would be a good science fiction thing where people actually inject their kids with Asperger's on purpose to make them billionaires. I'm talking about whatever the light
I
Asperger's.
can hear the emails being typed, the angry emails.
What,
I hear them now.
From people with Asperger's in Kenya.
Asperger's. It's good.
From Kenyan sufferers of Asperger's. Yeah. What do you think, James Altucher? Asperger's, is it a superpower or is it a hindrance? I know I'm being a little facetious, but this ability to have ADD is... What do you think, James?
There's definitely a whole genre of like bloggers and entrepreneurs that now claim to have Asperger's, particularly since the Social Network movie came out. So, it's certainly seen as a feature now among venture capitalists if your co-founder has Asperger's syndrome.
No, but you're joking, but it's true.
It's true. No,
it's like if you are socially inept and you can't look people in the eyes and you can't function well, but you can. They just assume all that energy is going into the product. Yep. So great. And nobody's going to be able to shake you away from your desk in hour 14 or 15, and you'll have no empathy in your body. So therefore, you'll be able to crush your competitors because you're not going to even think about what it feels like when you launch a search engine to the other person's social network or whatever.
And you could talk back to your VCs without them thinking like, he has Asperger's, so it's okay. He talks back to us. Everybody else can't talk back to us.
But I mean, some people think it's a mutation. In all seriousness, they think ADHD, ADD, whatever, Asperger's is a mutation. I'm not talking about serious chemical like, those cases, but
environmental type mutation.
It's an environmental reaction to this onslaught of media, and that they say boys have played like 30,000 hours of video games by the time they're in college, or they graduate college. Like, if you spend that much time in front of an Xbox, how socially adept are you going to be?
Well, and I think part of it, too, is we're creating these tools that replaces human interaction with hitting a like button or a +1, which is great for people who have social anxiety or trouble like Asperger's where they can't relate to people directly. It's much easier to give somebody a thumbs up on Facebook than it would be to say, I think that was a great thing that you did. Yeah, I mean, it's how much easier.
I appreciate what you did. Why should I do that when I could just...
Socially, then it actually makes it more comfortable for people who are introverted to make friends or to be around people that inspire them.
But is it driving people?
You're not limited now to your neighbors.
But I think what it's also doing is it's this faux liking, it's this faux communication.
Oh yeah.
That then if you were on the fringe, you're just going to fall over and be like, okay, I'm not going to make an attempt to be a human being. I'm just going to fall over into being a robotic button-pressing person.
Which is happening. I mean, I think you could see that there are a lot of people that are doing that. And we are cutting down on the real-life human interactions.
But they've always done that, though. Like, that's corporate America, or that's the world for the past 4,000 years. So now,
we're on
Facebook and Twitter, we can actually have real interactions with people that we don't know at all.
Right, but you're saying for thousands of years we've been attempting to not talk to the other people on the planet.
And now we're just...
And that is the goal.
Thousands of years that have been introverts that have been followers instead of leaders. And so and you've been limited by your close neighbors to the people who you're going to have real interactions with. Now you're not limited by the people who are in close proximity to you. You're limited by the 800 million people on Facebook who you can have meaningful interactions with. And I think that gives people a lot more choices.
I think it also overlaps with another topic you love to talk about, the millennials and their constant need for getting a pat on the back.
Right.
Well, what was the #1 word in Facebook status? It was LMS, so like my status.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of kids going,
It really was?
That was the #1 for last year. That was the #1 word that appeared the most within Facebook.
What?
Yeah. LMS. And none
That's
of us
the first
had
time
heard
I'm
of
even
it.
hearing of LMS.
I know. No one had heard of it.
LMS, is that like a disease? Is it like ADHD?
It's 13-year-olds.
It's 13-year-olds. It's kids going, I just got a haircut, LMS. So not only do I want to tell you I got a haircut, I need your validation of the fact that I got a haircut.
Well, which is, I mean, web video. When I used to work full-time
Please like and subscribe and
we always saw that.
And comment.
The shows that were popular, the shows that got a lot of engagement, were not the most informative shows with the greatest, original information or the best host. It was the shows that were the most directly like, I acknowledge you, the person who is watching.
So the begging
you
economy,
are part of this show.
the begging for attention and validation, it really is what we're moving to in media, right? I mean, people are just begging you to please, for the love of God, like me so that I can validate my existence.
Well, a little bit. It's like I'm investing my attention in you for 20 minutes, and in exchange, I expect you to then validate and pay attention to me. It's like almost like an economy that way.
So pathetic.
Everyone needs to stop and watch Eckhart Tolle videos that I'm prescribing at this point in the show. Eckhart Tolle.
Never heard.
Everyone needs to go watch some Eckhart Tolle videos.
We don't have to prescribe it. We can go do it.
Eckhart. E-C-K-H-R-T. T-O-L-L-E, yes.
Eckhart Tolle.
Yes.
Who is it?
Eckhart Tolle is, well, he most notably recently has been co-producing a series of very hour-and-a-half episodes with Oprah. This is Oprah's new fascination.
He's like a new age author?
But he's been around for a while, and he's...
Oh, God, I can't stand these guys. They're insufferable.
Like a Deepak kind of guy? Like,
are you telling us we need to have inner transformations?
No. It's exactly related to what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, actually,
and why it happens.
The one thing I thought was interesting
hold on. Here's a moment with Eckhart Tolle.
It's not something.
Whoa. Go full screen.
Not.
No, I can't, or this will be taken down.
Not form. The best description through words is to say not what it is not.
All right, hold on, let me do this.
This is weird.
The essential nature is to be one with... Now cut to him.
And then you're left with what it is.
And what it is you will like my videos.
Which cannot be named, but can be known.
To anybody
that have?
who subscribes to my channel and my Twitter feed.
But cannot be known conceptually, because every concept is again a name and a form.
And my Google Plus page. Would you? I can't do this.
That was over 1 million views.
A million
Do you think
views.
those million people all sat through that whole thing?
Wow.
What is this, Tyler? Who is this
What are
person?
the first comments on the video?
Well,
I'm ready to kill myself.
probably first, I would assume. Yeah.
Show us your boobs. It's number one. He looks more like 30, not 60 years old. God, do not think, do not talk, do not have color.
He lived homelessly for many years in a park in London and was suicidal and had a realization that he's very eloquent at describing, but what his real key is he's able to explain why people are acting exactly as Lon was describing and the sort of cure for that.
The cure for it being sending him $69.99.
No, he wants no money from nobody. He wants no one to, he has no cause or anything like that.
Hold on.
The stillness of pure consciousness, your essential nature, the essence.
It's like Deepak Chopra,
Your
but slower.
essence, not separate from
Is
the essence
separate
of the universe.
The universe and
Are these
in
just words?
Mission Impossible 4.
Yes.
Yes.
Words point
Words and
to that.
oh my God.
He sounds like a guy who's holding a seance, like he's getting this message from a spirit.
All right, let me explain something to you. This person is trying to get laid.
No, you gotta watch
And
some
make
of
money.
It's
No.
fame.
Every time
It's
there's a
not-
charlatan
it's not
like
sex.
this who tells you what to think,
geez.
they've got like an agenda that is in some order. I need money, power, and sex, and typically sex with underage girls.
Oh, God.
It's like every time somebody tries to do. I mean, I'm not saying Deepak Chopra. I'm talking about like all these cult leaders.
He's the farthest thing from a cult leader.
Are you a disciple of this guy? I mean, I can't take the guy seriously with
Is that
this.
what's with the shaved head?
Look at the sweater. What about the sweater? What's going on there? And what is going on with this?
I don't trust anyone in a sweater vest.
Look at that sweater vest.
His books, The Power of Now and A New Earth, sold an estimated 3 million and 5 million copies, respectively, in North America in 2009 alone.
But whatever it is, one thing we can be sure of, it's the present moment.
I guess reading him is less painful than listening to him, because you can go at your own pace.
Oh my God, this is insufferable. James Altucher, how insufferable was Eckhart Tolle, in your opinion? How insufferable? We can't hear James. I think James hung up.
He took off.
I can't be on This Week in Blowhards. No, I mean, what? I mean, do people think if they speak in that voice that they're going to be taken more seriously?
And they are, yes.
Really? Are people that dumb?
You are totally missing the entire point about. You're going to watch that video that you just.
I will, but I mean, what's with
3 seconds of?
But what's with the affect? Is that necessary?
Here's what it is. Here's what it is.
Okay.
It's because his entire point is, it's not about the words. It's about the space between the words. Because in that moment between words, you're listening
to,
and in that action of listening, your mind is silent, and that is your true nature. Is in the state of like
consciousness.
You have to stop your mind, and the whole key to stopping your mind is focusing on your breath.
You know what this is?
And listening.
This is what Hitler did. He was at stage. This is hypnotism. All right.
It's more like what Buddha did.
This is hypnotism. I mean, this is like stage. It's stage hypnotism. It's the same technique of stage hypnotism, which is to use big words and try to. It's called the rabbit hole technique. Just so people know, it's called the rabbit hole technique of hypnotism. And what it does is...
It's turning into the best episode ever. Go ahead.
It is a way to get people confused and inside their head so that they pay more attention to you so you can slip things into their unconscious. James Altucher, please comment on this. Why don't we hear James? I can see him. Can we pull... You lost him? I see him.
The audio.
You didn't lose him. He's there.
No, they're saying.
Oh, you lost his audio.
audio.
Oh God! I think
out.
this is the moment. This is where James out. This is why you have James Altucher on the show. Is because when you have something insane like this happen,
he's
got something.
Just pausing between words right
now.
Oh, is that what he's doing? It's a long.
He has silenced his mind.
All right, this is ridiculous. Can we get on to another news story because we're going to lose half the audience?
Yes.
Thank you for.
They're in a coma.
Thank you. I mean, ding. Thank you for. Absolutely sidetracking the entire show. Give us another. Thank you, Tom.
Should I start reading the news? MySpace.
No.
Investor. No. Okay. We'll do the MySpace stuff now.
Okay.
So there's CES MySpace news. Investor Justin Timberlake announced a joint venture with Panasonic called Myspace TV. It will let viewers share music and TV shows with friends through Panasonic's Viera Connect HD TVs, as well as smartphones and tablet apps. Most of the content for now is going to be MySpace's library of 42 million songs and 100,000 music videos, but eventually they want to expand it to include reality TV and sports-centered channels as well. MySpace TV, what do you guys think? I'm sure Sean has.
What are your thoughts?
So I didn't look too closely at that story because CES is like notorious for like vaporware. So I want to use this and see that it's a reality as opposed to this sort of PR speak.
James was there personally?
But I think he was. I mean, I don't know. All these TV makers and all these Asian companies, I know you guys traveled to Korea a lot too.
Yeah.
My feeling is that the corporate culture of these TV companies, they can never be cool. They can never create a cool product because of the weird structure and nature on this. This is another example. I feel it's going to be bloated. It's going to be a weird app thing, and you got to sign up for another account, and da-da-da-da. So, like, I don't know. We're not talking to our TVs yet, so the input is not there, unless I know some people talked about that as well, too. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm a little nervous that it'll never come to be, but I don't know. If they can do it, great. Maybe it makes sense. The shared
what about
viewing
Samsung? Because now you have Samsung making really beautiful products, and they hired David Un, who was running all of content for AOL for a while.
Yeah.
And they seem to be the one company that feels the most Apple or Sony-like to me. And I mean Sony in the building a product that you know you can trust. Like I feel like Samsung now, I have the Galaxy 2 Tab, and I've got the Samsung like crazy LED TVs, and I've bought 3 of them now. I won't buy anything but Samsung TVs.
That's what I have too.
And it's like, it feels to me like Samsung is going to be, is on a head-on collision course with Apple.
It does feel that way, and their UI and their interface is not that bad. But honestly, I just want.
It used to be bad.
Yeah,
now it's
I just want Netflix. But like they have a button on their remote that says like social TV, and like you click on it, and like you're doing some Yahoo thing. Like there's
the
still
Yahoo
a
integration was terrible. But now when you turn on the smart TVs, you see Hulu. BBC, Netflix. I mean, it's a pretty compelling experience.
Yeah. I have a Sony Bravia, and it's internet ready, and it's fantastic. I mean, you load it up.
Do you actually watch stuff through that interface?
Netflix and Hulu Plus, yes, absolutely.
What about YouTube? Do you go through the YouTube interface?
I mean, it's easy to get to. It's one of the icons that's right there. And Twitter, too, I could go to. And I think Robert Scove was talking about like how idiotic you feel trying to tweet with a remote control. So that doesn't work. But I don't really use YouTube that much, just because on a big TV, YouTube usually doesn't look that great.
You know who's going to win this? The first TV company that is brave enough to ship with a keyboard is going to win. I mean, it's just that simple. Why don't they put a netbook with your TV?
Well, I mean, everybody's got a coffee
seriously.
table or something there.
No. It's very simple. If a netbook only costs $100, $200, when you buy a $2,000 TV or a $1,500 TV, it should come with a netbook. You open it, it works.
Yeah, but
type stuff in, the guy, whatever. I can start typing.
The
it would work.
There are people. I think a lot of the sentiment wasn't just going the other way. People were talking about Apple, like, will the Apple TV have Siri, and you could just tell it, or will it be like the Nintendo Wii or something, or the Kinect, where you can like wave at your TV?
Yeah, certainly, like waving through the programs. I see that. I mean, I think the Kinetic is actually pretty interesting. If I could walk up to my TV and it's like, oh, you're Jason, you're Jade, you're London, and here's our Netflix cues. And it knows who's standing in front of the TV. That is kind of dope.
That's
you know, or here's you're logged into YouTube now because we've recognized your voice. I mean, it starts to get interesting.
TV is a lean-back experience, though, so I don't think people want a keyboard. They don't want to lean into TV. They want to kind of just set it and forget it.
I mean, I think it's going to, this curl-up thing that I wrote about last week, I think is going to become the killer because I just got the DirecTV app, and you can like program your DVR settings. Instead of through the keyboard, you can use your iPad or your iPhone. That's cool. And you can do it from anywhere. So if you tell me you should watch Breaking Bad, I'm like, boop, boop, I'm watching it. It's now on my subscription list. And for sports and stuff like that,
I keep seeing guys, and I'm not into sports at all, but like I keep seeing guys in line watching sports on their phone. I'm like, wow, they finally did it. I don't know how they did it, but someone's figured that out.
They're watching clips generally. I don't know if they're live streaming yet.
Probably not. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Okay.
James, are you back? James is restarting. Okay, well, you let me know when he's back.
He restarted already.
I could see him. I just can't hear him. He's got a bad. He's probably using
the camera mic.
Camera mic or something. All right, next story.
Do we want to keep talking about MySpace? Malik had an interesting brief post on GigaOM. He noted MySpace traffic continues to exceed sort of the hotter competitors like Google Plus and Tumblr. He also noted visitors spend more time on MySpace than G Plus still.
So some group of people are still diehards in there. Who are they?
There is still significant MySpace
What's going on there? Is it dating?
There is some dating, but that's pretty much gone away because it got too creepy. It's people that just hate Facebook so much they want to be somewhere else. They want to be themselves. Also, it's people that want to have a pseudonym. They don't want to be John Smith. They want to be Princess Angel, and MySpace catered to that. I thought it was an interesting story. It was a tough thing when I worked there because it was like everyone, I'm not going to swear, but everyone crapped on us because we were, sort of on the decline. But when you looked at the numbers, it's like, wow, we were bigger than Twitter, and people still hate us. Now they're a little smaller than Twitter, but I think in terms of this, like the big point though, is you look at engagement. I don't know if we can pull it up there. The engagement is through the roof on Tumblr and Pinterest. It's not through the roof on anything else aside from Facebook. And so engagement's probably a better metric. Also think about every band
engagement
you
being
search,
how long am I on the site?
Time on site.
Time on site being
time
a
on
specific
site. And if we
metric.
can see that chart, it'll really, really illustrate that.
Tyler could pull it up.
But I think that really in terms of MySpace, it's always going to have a lot of traffic because every band is there. And so every band you search, and trust me, that's the one thing that we did well. We did SEO around all the bands and all the properties, and they all rank, and they still do. They're going to be entrenched in that in page one for some time.
And so Justin Timberlake being involved in them going more and more into music and entertainment, which was sort of what you and Mike had tried to do and got them off to a pretty good start. You think that's going to keep happening?
I think so, but I honestly feel that MySpace needs to go away for a while and come back in sort of a retro revival, or they need to find like that pain point of Google does this or Facebook does that and really own it from there. That's what they need. They have no momentum. It's all about momentum in
this
business.
What is the story with Pinterest? Why is that? I mean, I was on the board of This Next, and I get the curation and social shopping. Like, there's a small group of people who like delicious and bookmarking, but why is that taking off like crazy? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't get it too, and I make fun of like, it's like dudes don't Pinterest was like my tweet, and I was like, how are they so big? Because no guys are using the site. It's all women who are doing their vision boards and whatever that is. But really,
what does that mean? Vision boards? What's a vision board?
I think it's just so.
How come I don't understand this?
I don't.
Because we're dudes. We don't get it.
It's completely lost to me too. And honestly, there's something about the name Pinterest that I find unpleasant. It makes me not want to go there anyway.
You think of like Pinhead from the Hellraiser series, like something like that.
Being pinned doesn't sound.
It sounds
pleasant.
I think what it is Leah. You probably I have Leah D'Amelio here. Friends of Leah. You're not on camera, but
I'm on Pinterest.
You're on Pinterest,
and you love that.
Yeah, it's great.
Why is it great?
It's very inspirational. You see, it's all very visual representations of art and crafts and food. And
I could see that.
That is the economy we live in, where people could have an Etsy shop. They can create a brand within weeks, as opposed to we have to depend on Hallmark.
So you like flipping through it to be inspired by like, these are great sunglasses, or
every teenage girl has like a board, whether it's like a cork board or You know, in her room where she cuts out pictures of things she likes from a magazine.
I get it now.
Pin it to the board.
I get it.
That makes more sense.
Yeah,
I got it. And you can share it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, we get it now.
I don't know how that becomes a business, but
Here's your time on site chart here.
pull up.
Yeah,
Here we go. Time on site. That's Facebook, the crazy graph.
Yeah.
And what's that years there? Zoom in there. What is
Those
that?
are times at the bottom. Of
When does Facebook take off? Is that 09?
Oh, Q starts taking off like Q1 yeah.
Oh, this is a percentage of overall time spent online. So the amount of time of all users, 18% of the time on the internet is Facebook. And Google is get you in and get you out, so theirs is not super high, right? Who's the next highest up?
They're second on the far right.
That's that...
And then Yahoo, and then Microsoft.
This is actually a different one. The one I was thinking about was more of a bar graph. It's
like how many minutes they spend online.
It was the one. Yeah, I had
pull
that
up the
one up.
Malik
I had
story.
that one up before.
It's in that blog.
The Malik one. There it is.
Pull up your laptop. Oh, there it is. Okay.
It's this one.
So this is.
I mean, look at Pinterest.
Average minutes.
Yeah, minutes per
visitor.
Yeah.
394 minutes on Facebook. That's because people leave that open all day long.
Right.
And then 141 minutes for Tumblr. That is crazy because they leave that all day long. And Pinterest coming in third with 88. But sites like MySpace, LinkedIn, and Twitter, I feel like people are very in and out. They just want to get. Yep. They want to. They're task oriented.
You do drive-bys. You take a look, you put it down. You take a look, you put it down. Pinterest,
right.
It's all consuming. You can sit there and it's auto-scrolling. It's beautiful
because of the
grid.
images. And Tumblr is video-based, and Facebook is image-based, and Facebook is image-based. So if you do a bunch of images, you will increase time on site. Slideshows equal time on site. That's the lesson of this. Yep. Next story.
All right. So staying on Facebook, political news site Politico and Facebook have announced a partnership in which the social network will provide data about their users' political sentiments to reporters in advance of the South Carolina Republican presidential primary coming up on January 21st. So Facebook's data team has designed software. It scans through user posts and comments. It determines general sentiment on candidates based on the frequency of posts and the content of the text itself. And then it's going to turn this into reports that they're going to then give to political journalists. They're saying that they used this system and they were able to predict Mitt Romney's victory in the New Hampshire primary based just on the volume and sentiment of posts on Facebook. So how much stock do you guys put in their ability to actually predict outcomes this way? And is this consistent with the spirit of Facebook and social networking and sharing?
I mean, I think it's data mining that happens in the real world, ChoicePoint being the real world company that does this all the time. So it's not surprising, and I know people are working on this for other applications. Like, hey, you want to find out when a stock is going to go up 5 cents? You could do the same thing.
Yeah. James, what do you think? Is sentiment analysis going to work for politics?
I don't think it will in the long term. I think you can maybe know the day before, but you're not going to know a month before, just like polls don't know a month before, and they change every single day. So I think this is just one more data point that Politico.com will use to write articles around. It might be more interesting to predict like movie box office, for opening weekends, but I don't think it's going to be that interesting for politics. Now, it would be interesting for the politicians to know what issues people are talking about in New Hampshire, on their Facebook pages.
Yeah, see, that's more. I agree with James. I agree with you, James. Like, who cares who's going to win? I want to know what issue is the most important issue, because it seems like everybody wants to vote based upon religion or anti-choice, pro-choice. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't know.
Like,
voters are issue-oriented.
I think the issue is going to be pretty easy. It's going to be like jobs, marijuana. Like,
if you're based on frequency of Facebook posts, yes.
Yeah, I think on Twitter it's going to be like weed, jobs.
Factory going down. Then that's interesting to politicians, but not for predictive ability. You have InTrade, you have Twitter, you have all these things. It's just one more data point.
Didn't that happen during the Google made a dig-like service that let you vote up and down questions?
Yeah.
And I think the weed lobby voted it up so high, and didn't they get him to take the question about legalizing marijuana? I think that
I think
we talked about this on the show.
Yeah, on like a debate or something, they actually got that question.
Well, this is going to be great because then the Reddit people will be talking about underage girls and photos of people who died in motorcycle accidents.
Well, I'd say, the problem with this.
If Reddit hosted a debate,
if it's based on volume of posts, Ron Paul, right? Like Ron Paul would win.
Ron Paul owes his existence
landslide.
to Reddit.
Yeah,
it's true.
Reddit.
Dig before
where's
that,
the Reddit lobby? Why isn't there a Reddit party lobby? Like they should start a party. And they should put a candidate out. It would be great. Maybe the cat. They should put the cat out with the rainbow cat.
They're so busy in Minecraft and Skyrim. When are they going to organize?
Eating cookie dough. I mean, they've got other things to worry about.
They seem to be incredibly effective with the SOPA stuff. They went after one of these congressmen or senators, I don't know which, and they just got him to flip and be like, yeah, SOPA's bad. I mean, they are so powerful.
That is one of those issues, though. I mean, I think if you can drill into people's minds, if this passes, you will lose your 10 favorite websites. That's a very, very powerful message.
But do you think if they just went on like a crusade for, I don't know, some other thing, whether it was marijuana that they seem to have a big fetish with on Reddit, or
other issues are too nuanced. This one is like, if this thing happens, you lose Reddit. It's so immediate. It's so easy. Whereas every other issue is more gray. People are like, I feel like this and I feel like this. I think that's why the SOPA thing has become so big so quickly.
It's easy. Everybody agrees.
In 2 minutes, I can explain to you, there's this really stupid bill that they wrote. And everybody, especially young people, are already inclined to think politicians don't understand technology and the internet.
Yeah,
and the government already doesn't get the internet. And so, yeah, I mean, it takes 2 seconds to convince somebody, like, there's this bill, and if it passes, you lose your 10 favorite websites.
I think that this is the cycle in which, like, you know, they created Ron Paul and they sort of bubbled him up as a candidate. But now I think they're actually... Didn't Ron Paul come in second in the last...
Yeah.
I mean, I think that now they've propelled almost to viability. I think the internet can almost propel to viability levels political candidates.
Almost.
Almost.
I mean, Rick Santorum did okay in the Iowa poll.
Well, that guy, what is his story? Why does he hate everybody? He's anti-gay? Like he wants to... gay?
Yeah, no, he's virulently anti-gay.
Ugh, what an idiot.
Here's a totally related story. The author of Online Privacy Bill vows not to buckle. This is Reuters.
Right.
The lawmaker behind a bill to combat online piracy vowed on Thursday to press ahead in the face of fierce criticism from internet giants such as Google and Facebook. It's amazing, he's quoted as saying, "It's amazing to me that the opponents apparently don't want to protect American consumers and businesses." Republican Representative Lamar Smith told Reuters in a telephone interview.
Let me tell you something. The day they turn off YouTube is the day that there will be riots in the street. Like, I mean, they do not understand the hornet's nest that they are kicking. Yeah. You turn off YouTube, you turn off Twitter for a day or an hour. Literally, if they just put on YouTube, and Reddit's doing it on the 18th, if they put on YouTube...
a bunch of sites are doing it.
Oh, more have lined up behind Reddit?
Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of sites there. People are trying right now, lobbying Jimmy Wales to do it to Wikipedia.
Clearly. Why wouldn't they?
You need a site like Wikipedia to do it. Like Reddit actually is not big enough. And like you say, there's just sort of pictures of young girls or motorcycle crashes. You need a Wikipedia that actually people use to cheat on their homework in order to get everybody upset.
Yeah, I think Wikipedia, YouTube...
Facebook,
but I think Reddit sends 1,000 phone calls a minute.
Well, Tumblr did it before and sent I don't have the number, but a crazy amount of phone calls.
Why doesn't YouTube just step up and do it for 2 hours on YouTube and just say YouTube's closed every day from 3 to 5 o'clock for the next week, you know, and if you'd like YouTube to be turned on, please dial one of these phone numbers. And
I think there might be a backlash, though.
What's that?
There might be a backlash. Maybe there should be a separation of church, state, and internet in the sense that how come YouTube is shutting down? I can't enjoy my YouTube because of some politician.
Well, because this law would make YouTube liable for the content that Tyler puts up under pseudonyms.
All this would do. Canada's hoping to God this goes through because all the internet companies are moving to Toronto the second this happens.
So stupid. I was playing poker the other night with a pretty high, like one of the most high-profile directors, and he's like, "This is ridiculous. Like, why don't you guys protect the internet?" And I was like, "He's not like an old guy." And I was just like,
"It's Brett Ratner, isn't it?"
I don't want to say, but yes, no, maybe. So I'm trying to explain to him, like, okay, if you had a Volvo and you robbed a bank with it, would you go after Volvo? No. Okay. If YouTube posts a video, would you go after YouTube? Yeah. I'm like, YouTube is a car. You can drive it places. Like, the person who put it up is, guilty. And they're like...
Yeah, a lot of people, there's a disconnect there, where if you see something on YouTube, it's like, oh, this is on...
Well, he's like, YouTube is making money. His thing was, YouTube's making money. I was like, well, so's the person selling the Volvo. Like, you have to understand that the vehicle is not the response... What happens with how people use the vehicle is up to the person who uses it. Did they put this guy in jail? Look this up. How long is the guy in jail for who stole the Hulk? Like, they're starting to put these people away for years.
2 or 3 years or something?
I mean, mission accomplished. Who in their right mind is going to steal a work print? And has that ever happened again? I don't think it has.
Maybe
Like
not
a work print. I'm talking about.
Maybe not as brazen.
So if it worked with the work print, now all you have to do is prosecute a half dozen people.
It was Wolverine, by the way.
Wolverine was the
all right, whatever the hell it was, whatever bad movie it was. Like Wolverine, the Hulk. Like if you put a work print up or something like that and it does serious damage, you go to jail for 2 or 3 years. Okay, if you put a screener up, you go to jail for 6 months, and if you put a movie that's on DVD already for a couple of months, you get a week in jail. If they start putting people in jail for a week, which is reasonable. If you steal movies, if you steal a DVD at a store and they put you in jail for 2 days, would anybody here think that's out of line?
I don't think you should put people in jail for
somebody
putting
shoplifts
movies up on the.
I don't know. This is where the movie industry makes a point because of people like Yulon. No, seriously.
I'm a movie lover. I buy tons of movies.
Somebody walks into that store that you used to work in.
Laser Blazer.
Puts 5 Blu-rays into their pocket.
Right.
And gets caught.
Do I think they should do jail time?
If the judge puts them in jail for 48 hours to teach them a lesson, are you opposed?
I think it's a little different, and I think that the idea of media ownership is not the same as physical. I went into your store and I physically
this is where the argument.
Why is it different?
Yeah.
There's no cost of duplication. That's where it's different.
Right. I think it's the same idea of like making a copy of a CD I like for a friend or a mixtape and sharing it with them.
Yeah, but you never bought the original.
I'm not saying if you're one of these people that you are stealing hundreds of movies and uploading them to a server and then sharing them with the entire world and like millions of people are seeing a movie because of you, then I would say okay. But if you're like you put one movie up, you send it to your friends. Where's the line
between millions and your friend?
Yeah, exactly. I think James expand upon this.
What number do you have to share with before it becomes
what
jail
number
service?
Well, but isn't it exactly the same as like if I recorded a song I really liked off the radio and played it for you versus if I recorded 1 million songs and shared it with you? There's no difference? It's a slippery slope?
Well, here's the thing. On the internet, because all digital copies are perfect and because things can be, one copy could equal 1 million in an hour, it is different. And I think this is the problem. I think
and you play music in your diner, you owe money for that.
Right. But the point is, you're mixing metaphors, Lon, and I think that this is where the digital people have to take some ownership and say, people are not buying the DVD and or CD and making a copy for their friends. They're stealing it and not buying the original DVD.
I'm not pro-piracy. I just don't think we should throw people in jail.
All right,
there's got to be some other way.
No, I'm just
deal
saying
with this without jail time.
This is the point. The point is, if there was proper enforcement of stealing, people would not do it. Because there are legitimate alternatives now. You can buy it. So there's no excuse to steal now. If you're stealing music, nobody steals music anymore, right? Spotify, YouTube,
a lot of people
Pandora. If you're stealing music, I feel you should get a fine. Because it's so available today. Why would you steal music? Are you still stealing music, Lon?
What do you say still like I was 6 years ago? Like,
be honest, in college, were people in your circle involved in stealing of music?
Absolutely. I don't steal, I don't torrent, I don't pirate anything anymore.
Okay. But there was a time.
Well,
perhaps.
Now I think the industries behind these things have made it convenient enough.
Okay.
I got Netflix,
so
I got iTunes,
if you're part of the group who are still stealing when stuff is available at an affordable cost, you're doing it wrong.
I will say there are cases even today where, and I don't steal, but there are cases today where something like a BBC show that's on there in January and won't get to America until it's on PBS in May.
Right.
They're inviting fans to steal it. That's saying, please find this content
if you create
elsewhere.
That artificial stuff.
We're not going to get it.
I take that laptop. You're telling me I do a search. I'm not going to find one torrent.
This is not mine, so.
Oh, okay.
Please, by all
means. If I go to your home computer, is there a BitTorrent client on it?
There is a BitTorrent client, yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't steal, but I have BitTorrent, and I know a lot of people who have these weird BBC
This is what I know.
Well, Sherlock is a great show, and I would love to be able to watch season 2, but it will not be on in America
I knew somebody who had, let's use that language for now, but I knew somebody who had a VPN that gave them an IP address from London that allowed them to watch the BBC player. Yes. I knew somebody who had that. You know anybody like that?
I might know a few people, but like Slingbox is okay. So if you had a friend in London who had a Slingbox and you could watch their stream of Sherlock from here, you'd be okay with that. So it's this slippery slope idea of it's all the same.
Let me put another situation to you. If there was an award-winning film that got Metacritic like a really high score, like Carlos,
sure,
and it wasn't available to my friend, and they downloaded it off BitTorrent, after they pre-ordered it for $60 off of Amazon.
Well, then they're buying it, yeah.
That would be okay if my friend did that?
Ethically
Sean?
or legally?
Ethically.
I think that's fine. I think that's fine. You're paying.
James, is my friend Tyler okay or not? I mean, is my friend okay?
Yeah, I think in that case, they paid for the content. Then there's issues about the length of time it takes for them to get it, but that's ethically, that seems okay. Legally, it's obviously not okay.
Right. Yeah, see, what people have to do is they have to stop with the stealing because there's enough stuff out there. There's enough options. Why wouldn't you just buy Netflix for $6 a month and watch the movies they have?
Yeah, but every major company, and you reference they're trying to protect companies. Well, they're trying to protect Sony, who nobody cares about. Warner Brothers is an American company, but they're a big American company. But those companies are basically plotting against Netflix. You can't get a new Netflix thing for like 48 or 68 days.
That's true. Netflix is getting pretty ganky.
That's not fair to the consumer.
I'm having a hard time finding movies to watch on Netflix.
And I'm having the same problem on Apple iTunes because there's a 28-day delay, and it's
the only when you say I have a huge problem finding things to watch on Netflix, that's saying I only want to watch things that came out in the last year.
No,
if you are willing to watch classic films and older films and international films.
No, but I'm talking about documentaries from the last or independent film in the last 3 years.
Right. Well, yes, new releases are their Achilles heel, and it's well known. But even that's not the same as there's nothing good to watch on Netflix. There's hundreds of
what I said was I'm having a hard time finding them. Like I'm using Instant Watcher. Use InstantWatcher.com. There's this thing called Instant Watcher or something. It's like they basically tell you like here are the Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes scores or New York
for
Times.
All the streams,
Yeah, it's just getting harder. And why does Netflix's iPad suck so much that I can't see the reviews?
That I agree with.
And they won't sort it by score.
I agree. Their mobile experience is not up to.
It's a disaster. Why can't I see this is a message for Reed Hastings. Reed, buddy, pal. I emailed you, but I emailed him about it, and he emailed me back. He's like, we're working on it. And I was like, why can't I see the reviews of the film in the app? I have to take my laptop out, and they won't put the reviews, and you can't sort. There's no advanced search. You can't sort your Netflix by the rating of the films. I think the reason is they don't want people to see that there's only 3 5-star films on Netflix. That's the problem.
Possibly.
All right, let's do one more story. Last story.
Oh wow. Okay.
Pick a good one.
We want to talk about Foxconn. We want to talk about Hulu. We want to talk about Bing. Foursquare. We got so much left we didn't get to.
Let's talk about suicide.
Yeah, I'm interested.
We'll talk about Foxconn then. Hundreds of workers at the Foxconn factory in Wuhan, China, threatened to commit suicide as a result of an ongoing pay dispute. The Foxconn factory produces Microsoft's Xbox console, Apple products such as the iPhone and iPad, innumerable other parts and products for international electronics companies and hardware companies. The original controversy stems from a dispute over pay, rather than we always hear about the disputes are over poor working conditions. That's what caused the suicides in Shenzhen in 2010. This is I'm not even. I've had enough. This is about a pay dispute instead. The situation was resolved on Thursday. There was an 8-hour standoff. 32,000 Foxconn employees had threatened to jump off the factory roof. All but 45 of those workers have now returned to work. And Microsoft and Apple have both announced they will investigate working conditions at the factory, as well as Foxconn's overall policies and treatment of its workers. So what needs to happen to make this stop? I mean, is it like these products would have to go up a few dollars? Apple and Microsoft would have to make a few dollars less? I mean, I think most Americans agree they don't want Chinese workers to be slaving away in these factories like this, and children.
James, what's the...
I'm not sure most Americans would agree with you on that. I think most Americans want cheap iPads.
Yeah, I was going to say, James, what is the...
China will figure this out.
James, what is the acceptable amount of suicide per dollar for an iPad?
Well, first of all, 32,000 didn't threaten. 150 guys threatened of the 32,000.
Right.
But it's interesting that Foxconn is starting to outsource to Brazil the making of iPads.
Right.
So capitalism and free markets are going to figure this out, just like they did in the Industrial Revolution here around the late 1800s, early 1900s.
So it's okay for kids, like 10-year-old kids, to work 14-hour shifts at a factory because, oh, well, we'll sort it out.
It's a little ridiculous.
I didn't say it was okay. I said it will work itself out. Apple does publish its safety standards. Foxconn has to live up to it, or Apple will.
It's all a game, though. It's all a game.
Historically, the way it works out is not based on shifting international markets. It works on unionization.
Yeah, well, that's what you're seeing here.
In this country, it was,
they
not,
can't have unions here. That's one issue.
No, they can.
They don't, though. No, Foxconn won't let them.
Yeah. Foxconn won't let them.
Yeah, China won't let them.
Yeah, there's the history of the auto workers couldn't have a union either. No union that existed today could have had it. They just unionized.
Until they took it. Yeah. Well, that's what this is. This is a union.
Just granted out. You
Let me tell you
something.
Threatening mass suicide. That's a union. That's a union now.
That is a union. They unionized and they won that negotiation.
Yeah, I think for me this is a tipping point. Like, I buy every gadget, I have everything ever come out, and I'm just crazy about it. But honestly, this, like, I tweeted even earlier this week, I'm like, I would love to pay 2x what I pay right now for any gadget. Yeah. One, because people are buying gadgets they don't need. You don't need a new phone every year.
Right.
And at the same time, this is like I said, it's a tipping point. This is like the fifth story like this. I personally now feel bad, and I don't have much of a conscience. So this is really, really striking home.
For a guy like you to actually care, you got soft when you had a kid.
It's true. It humbles you.
You start to think, like, this is not the world I want my kid to live in. I mean, this is like Brazil. You ever see the movie Brazil? Like, sure. This is dystopian now.
It is, and I mean, you hear these horror stories, and it does. I mean, James is right. It sounds like the Industrial Revolution. That's what it's reminiscent.
It's just a little bit crazy.
And things get better from there. It doesn't happen overnight, but things will get better. And we can't control everything that happens in China. We just can't do it. Yeah. But actions like what happened did make some changes. They got their pay raise.
But Apple is the richest country in the world, though. I mean,
these are not companies that are struggling. This is Microsoft,
little
IBM,
faux pas there.
Samsung,
Apple is not the richest country in the world. It's the richest
company. I said
right, but it is richer than most countries.
It is. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they wanted to make this even a little bit better, I mean, not hire anyone under 18, they could, or they could take their business elsewhere.
I think it's time that there is a global.
Families need to have their 14-year-olds work. Like, why are you penalizing the families that have kids who are happy?
Here's what has to happen. There needs to be. I'll solve this problem, like I do most problems in the world. I can solve this very quickly. There needs to be just like there's a universal declaration of human rights, there needs to be a universal standard of human employment. And it needs to say that people can work this number of hours per week, they need to get this minimum wage, it needs to be a global minimum wage for countries in the United Nations or that are trading partners or a certain thing. It's time for that. I know it sounds crazy, and I'm a free market guy, but there should be some sort of global standard of safety, number of hours, healthcare, and we should all, even if we can't reach it immediately, we should start having that discussion of what's a reasonable age to start working? What's a reasonable number of hours for people this age to work? What's a reasonable number of days a week? I'm all for freedom. I work 7 days a week on stuff, but it is a little bit abusive at this point. Like 12-hour days, 14-hour days, 6 days a week. Like, we have to start thinking on a more global basis as to, instead of just moving the hockey puck around the globe, which seems to be, that's why I was saying it's all a game. Like, Apple put their standards out. It's like, yeah, Apple puts their standards out. This guy puts them under pressure. They fail the test. They send somebody in to pretend that the test got passed. And then all of a sudden 5 years goes down. The press stops talking about it. Yep. I think they're going to be bringing a lot of these jobs back to America. And I think actually there's a discussion that needs to occur in America about the minimum wage, because there's a lot of people who would take jobs that are below the minimum wage to work and be happy with it. The minimum wage in a lot of cities has moved jobs out. I think in like San Francisco, the minimum wage is now $10.
Under the Walmart issue of,
particularly if you combine that with immigration policy, where you definitely bring in immigrants who are willing to work less than the minimum wage. I agree with you.
Don't you get into the what we go through with Walmart now, where the government or taxpayers end up subsidizing because these people don't have health care and they can't afford to do all the other things we sort of expect people. They don't, they can't pay their share of.
I know what we should do.
Burden.
Hold on a second. I got an answer.
Okay.
Hold on. Here's the answer.
Oh, here we go.
This work for MailChimp.
As we sit here.
Here's the answer.
I'd like to suggest, first of all,
that the Foxconn workers add a volume button to the Kindle Fire.
That you make sure that you're still breathing.
Well, that's important. It's a good lesson for everybody.
Now, as you download the new Netflix application, which has the reviews and the ability to sort by score from Rotten Tomatoes.
That's a little step. Am I still breathing? Just a second, let me check. Yes.
James, what is your take on this Eckhart Tolle? Have you heard about this before?
Yeah. I actually have read his books, and I agree. The books are worth reading. The videos are not worth watching. I don't think he knows how to do a video.
What is the premise here?
He basically plagiarizes philosophies that are thousands of years old, throws in some New Age spirituality, and you've got a kind of better version of Deepak Chopra, where he basically says, focus on the now, historical equals hysterical. So forget about everybody who caused you problems in the past, focus on what's happening in your life right now. And that's his philosophy. But he talks funny, and he has a Chinese girlfriend who's 20 years younger than him.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. James Altucher.
Focusing on the now.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I've got 8,000 emails from Kenya right now. Apparently, some people do care about Kenya. All right.
Well, you know, if you say the same thing about Greece, also you'll get those emails. But who cares? They don't count.
Yeah. Oh God. You know I'm Greek, right? No, I mean your point was about the stock market shouldn't care about Greece. I understand.
Yes.
Hey, this has been an amazing program. Thank you so much to our friends at Sourcebits for making delightful apps. And if you need help, the same way Hershey's, GE, and Coca-Cola need a little help, they will be there for you. Tell them your Uncle Jason sent you. Sourcebits.com. Thanks at Sourcebits on your Twitter handle. And thank you at MailChimp. There you go. Hey, Sean Percival uses it. What more do you need to know? He's a smart kid. Now you're an adult. Look at you, all grown up, starting your own company.
Yeah.
Wait, when is the Angel Round occurring?
Probably March.
All right.
Yeah. Well, the Angels occurred. The Series A.
There you go. I'm going to give you what?
Series A will come.
What, with the Angel Round occurred? I got to get in on that. Here's the check. This is the check I was going to give to Tyler. I sign it. Here you go. Here's Tyler's check. He wouldn't take my money.
Done.
Trust me, it's gonna. It'll.
There'll be room though.
Okay.
I'm sure.
All right.
We'll
make a little room for Jake.
Either way.
Awesome. Hey, thanks Sean Percival for being on the program. Everybody follow at Percival. Percival. Everybody follow at James Altucher. He is J Altucher, and it's pronounced Altucher, just so people know.
Exactly.
JALTUCHER.
Killing it, by the way. Your articles
crazy
on TechCrunch are getting a lot of love on Twitter and everywhere.
Twitter, Business Insider, he's everywhere.
Yeah, thank you.
Everybody check out ranker.com, where Lon Harris is the blah, 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 director, editorial director. What are you?
Senior director of content.
And I see you were talking to people on the TWiST list about some new features.
Yeah, we've got a new UI we're testing out, and I was looking for a few people to come give it a try behind the scenes before we launch. And I got an amazing response. Everybody jumped at the chance.
There's 230 people on twistlist.co. If you go to twistlist.co, you can join everybody. This is the back channel where the true fans of the show discuss how to build startup companies and the show and who's the guest star and the topics. And if you made it to an hour and 21 minutes into this program, you belong on the twistlist.co. You can sign up for $2, $3, $4, $5, $10 a month, whatever works for you. Go to thisweekin.com/email and join the mailing list, and you'll find out what's coming up in the next show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next time on This Week in Startups.
Thanks, sir, for having me.